we're creating a movement that we want to go all over the continent, not just the country, but Canada, Mexico. You know, we already have contacts in Mexico. We're going to take up this message that I'm bringing to you and start it down there. So we're going to be everywhere. Ma'askum kaktiwayu, as we say in my language. You know, my name is Ravenspeaker. I'm an Alaskan Tsimshian.
Awesome.
Raven clan, the whole bit. You know, I'm extremely cultural. I'm a traditional storyteller. Stories are what transmits our culture. So, you know, when you know a lot of stories, you find that you know things you didn't even know that you. It's not like you go to class and you studied in a book. You know, you find that you know things about the old ways, and you didn't know that you knew it, right? It's pretty amazing stuff. So so I became a culture bearer and didn't even know that I was, just because I knew all of these stories. It was an amazing process for me. So I'm Alaskan Tsimshian, but I have a lot of things in common with everyone here that's in this room today. And it's not necessarily the thing that you would think. You know, I am not and never have been a Lummi. Right? I have a few friends out here, but I'm not a Lummi. I've never been an addict of any kind. Well, I got caught up in eating too much sugar. You know.
Too much hamburgers?
Yeah, I was always this really lean, athletic, in-shape guy, and that's not quite the case anymore.
Clearly.
Work on that, you know. Get back into this athletic mode, you know. You know, but I have something in common with everybody in this room, and I know that I do, and as soon as I start talking, you'll all know, right? You see, I've seen things. Somebody mentioned beaver, right? You know, we watched that TV show, Leave It to Beaver, and we know that if Wally and the Beef had seen even one incident that for you and I would have just been ordinary growing up, right? If Wally and the Beaver had seen just one of those things, they'd be scarred for lives, and they wouldn't be Wally and the Beaver. Right? They just wouldn't be. So there's something about us as people, I mean, in spite of the crap that we see, we're still here. Like, it's actually amazing. Indians shouldn't exist at all. Because the stuff, the environment that we live in is so toxic, it's so dangerous, that the fact that there's more Indians the next generation than the generation before is just amazing. It's like we intend to survive. You know, we're going to, no matter what they throw at us. And we created Natives Rising. I will tell you exactly who. It was my vision. I literally had a vision when I was 12 years old. I'm not going to go into it because that's a whole other thing. It took me about 20 years to even understand what the vision was about, and then another 10 years or so to do anything, to even know how to do it, right? But this vision was literally a commandment that we as Native people begin to act together to do something to change everything. And there is no outside force that's going to change this environment that we're talking about, this thing that we know as Indian people. We just know that there's stuff that goes on, you know. And Wally and the Beaver and his family, if they even knew it was going, just hearing these stories would probably shock them, and they'd be like, no way, that nobody could live like that. If white people were going through what Indians go through every day, they'd all be dead. we know this is true. They'd all be dead. There's no way those people could survive what we go through on a daily basis. But we also know that we can't live this way either anymore. Like, what's going on is stopping us from being who we're supposed to be. We talked about this. We're a creative people. We're an artistic people. We're amazingly gifted with ideas and aesthetics, you know, making things look beautiful. You know, this is who we are. We're also just naturally, we love the land. We love it. You know, we don't want this to look like a parking lot out this window. We walk into the urban environment and we see everything. We don't want it to look like that. We want it to be pretty. Okay, fine, have a building, but let's put a tree there and let's make it pretty, you know, with some nature, right? You know, asphalt. We don't want that, right? So we have this natural quality of loving nature. We have all of these things, and our Creator made us that way, didn't He? I mean, does that make sense? And if we think of it that way, well, if the Creator made us that way, did He also create us to be miserable?
Sometimes.
Well,
That's a choice.
I think we have to. I mean, I'm hearing what you're saying when you say sometimes,
Yeah,
but
sometimes.
but if you just follow it out logically, if He created us, did He create us for the purpose of being lower than everybody else?
No.
You know, did He create us in such a way that a really significant portion of our young people don't even want to live? Was that His intention?
No.
And it's like obvious that that wasn't. So He created us for a purpose that we are not fulfilling. We're down here, where we're supposed to be is up here. Would you agree with me on that?
Mm-hmm.
So somehow we got to shift gears. You know, we got to be from here to here. And when I started to talk about the outside forces, well, first of all, we already know there's a lot of outside forces that very much want to keep us right where we are. Right? So we already know that we can't trust that the outside forces have the best interests of Indians in mind. We already know that. Right? Nobody has to convince Indians of that. And yet, a lot of times we think, okay, if we can just vote for the right guy to be the president, or, you know, I'm going to go join this political party, or I'm going to, you know, this church will come in, or, you know. The thing that I began to realize is that there is no politician, there is no particular church, and there's no pile of cash anywhere outside Indian country that will ever do anything to change this. Right? Indians down here, where we need to be up there. Where's that going to come from? Us. We have to do it. And we have this saying at Natives Rising, and your Natives Rising, you're going to hear this saying over and over and over again. It's never going to get old. If it takes a village to raise a child, we've all heard this, right? If it takes a village to raise a child, then it will certainly take a village to raise the village. You know what I'm saying? And I love what I heard, some of this stuff coming out of your meeting today, because that idea of unity, that idea of working together, that idea of, okay, we don't like what's going on Lummi. We don't like it. Who's going to change it? We're going to get the BIA in here to do something? Right? President Obama, is he going to come in and do something? If President Obama thinks about Lummi for more than 5 seconds his entire time in office, that would be amazing. Right? Doesn't matter outside. The only thing that matters is here. Who's here? And let's be honest. It's not going to happen overnight. You know, we're not going to suddenly have 1,000 Lummis or however many people live here. Suddenly say, okay, let's get it together. But we can start with a small group, 5 or 6 people, you know, just doing something. Just, okay, I'm gonna make a little difference. And it starts to build on each other. You know, you say, you look at the state of Lummi, you look at the state of Indian country, and you say, there's no way I can do anything about this. And that's true, you can't. But we could do everything, because the state of Lummi is, and the state of Indian country is our agreement about what it is. And I'm going to wake up in the morning and I'm going to do my thing. I'm going to do whatever I do every day. But boy, if we all just made a small shift, if 1,000 people just made a small change every day, everything would be amazingly different. You get what I'm saying? 1,000 people just doing a little bit different. Ripple effect, change everything. Boom, just different, right? So Natives Rising is about getting 1,000 people to make 1,000 small changes. And we've all passed out the flyer about the kindness campaign. That's the very first step. Getting each of us to commit a very small amount of time each month, 2 hours a month, to do something nice for somebody else in the community. Somebody not you. Somebody that you will not get a benefit directly because they're better off because you invested in them, right? As I said, we want this spread everywhere. We're starting in Seattle. The launch is next week in Seattle. Actually, what am I saying? This is next week. The launch is this week, the day after Christmas, okay? Holy cow, I'm totally lost it there for a second. But we want to be everywhere fast. And so I didn't want to say, okay, we're launching in Seattle now, and then, you know, we're going to be just kind of muddling around in Seattle for 10 months, and then sooner or later, it'll be up here. No, so if we're going to grow fast, we want to grow fast, right? So I had a chance to hook up with Alvin, and took it, and said, okay, great. We can just get a small group of people to start doing this. This is the first step, and trust me, it's nowhere near the last, right? There's many steps to Natives Rising, but let's start something simple, which is start creating a little bit of unity, just a little bit of a sense of a group, you know? And this has been well researched, folks. We have some tools. We have different tools. Our ideas are basically simple. They're basically simple. But Cleve here, he came out from Los Angeles. He's going to show you something. It's just one little thing, and it's just so simple, and you're going to be like, this is too simple. But it works. And that's the key, is things have to be simple, because otherwise we'd all have to be doctorates in something. We'd all have to be doctor of this and doctor of that to make any difference. And we're not all doctor of this, doctor of that. So we have to do simple things that anybody can understand. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up, and then I'm going to let Cleve explain what he's going to do. You'll be amazed. You'll see this simple thing, and you'll be like, no way that does anything. But the bottom line is this, and I just want to wrap with this. If we all started just working together, just doing small things, but doing it together, 2 hours a month, like literally that simple, we could make a huge difference. We could have a Lummi that you've all dreamed would exist, but now it actually does. And it all was created with small changes. Small changes. And one big one. And the big one is changing our agreement about what is acceptable and what isn't. Simple as that.